Julio, congratulations on your dual championship titles. How does it feel to be a champion in two different weight classes?
Well, thank you. I feel like the second one that I just recently won is still sinking in, but it's a great feeling. It's something that I've worked towards and something that I've actually always wanted to be in two different weight divisions so that I could like show my skill like over a different range.
Can you walk us through the moment you were crowned the Wicked and Bad Cruiserweight champion?
Yeah, that fight was, for me, it was a fairly tough fight in the sense of I was really, really like bloated and out of shape for that fight. But I knew that's what I kind of had to be to make that fight. The time that I was given to actually make the weight, because I didn't know that I had to be so heavy for the fight. I didn't even know that I was fighting for cruiser until like 5 weeks before, and it was my first 5 round fight. I'd never gone beyond 3 rounds before. So after actually going the full distance of 5 rounds, which I'd never done before, I felt like I did what I had to do to get the win. But then again, once you leave things to the judges, it's up to them. It doesn't matter what you think. So once I had my hand raised, it was probably one of the best feelings that I've ever had. Yeah.
Brilliant. How did your journey with OU Promotions begin? What does holding the light heavyweight champion title mean to you?
So with Obi Promotions, odds, that's my guy. Like basically how it happened was I moved from Coventry to London, shout out my Toto family, and I basically hadn't boxed for almost 3 months because I had some stuff happen before, some life things, and it was my boy that sent me to odds. He sent me his page, and then I hit him up. We did one or two PT sessions, and it basically just reignited like my boxing passion. And I told him that, listen, if you were to have a show, I would fight on there for free, no questions asked. Just give me an opponent, and I'll be there. So that's how we started, and then now I'm 3 fights in with the promotion.
Nice. What's your training regimen like when you're preparing for fights in different weight classes?
So for cruiser, I was like about 9, 10 kg off, so that wasn't my natural weight, and it involved a lot of eating. I had to cut down my cardio a bit because I have a high metabolism and I burn food quite quickly, so that wasn't helpful. It was very expensive as well to gain a lot of weight, and then did like sort of weighted exercises, so like ankle weights and vested weights, to try and get used to that sluggish feeling and being heavier at cruiserweight as I was ballooning
So
and going up in weight.
training, yeah?
Bro, it was necessary. And then if it involves dropping weight or maintaining weight, then I'll either just work out more, put in more cardio, and then just eat to sort of balance out where I need to be.
How do you maintain focus and discipline while you're managing the demands of competing in the two divisions?
Well, it's a case of I know my own body, and I know what it takes for me to go up or down in weight. So, in terms of focus, whatever weight I need to get at, I've never not made weight. So if I just almost like if I tell my body we need to make this weight, naturally the actions plus me wanting to do that just automatically makes me hit bang on weight that I want to hit for the fight.
Nice. How has your Nigerian heritage influenced your approach to boxing and your career as a whole?
It's given me pride in that sense that I know where I'm from. I've been to where I'm from. I've visited my village a few times, and I would say in terms of knowing that and like knowing my heritage, I always carry it proudly. So it gives me strength. Like I always make jokes like, oh, like we're Saiyans and we have Saiyan blood, but I really believe that Nigerian people are very resilient people. I come from a tribe of people that were more or less massacred during the Biafran War, and I'm still here alive. My parents are still here alive, and we're thriving. So, knowing my history and knowing these sort of things definitely gives me strength.
That's amazing. How have your friends and family reacted to your success?
They love it. They love it, and that's the thing to see them love it as much as I do, especially when they're there supporting me. Like for my last fight, which was a knockout, that seeing their reaction on camera as well. They're also proud of me. My mum, who was obviously against me boxing, she's at this stage where she sees the work and dedication I put into something outside of my professional life and so on. And yeah, she's nothing but proud of me. So yeah.
Amazing. Looking back, what was the most challenging fight of your career and how did you overcome it?
I would say it was probably the wicked and bad one because, again, it was shifting the weight categories that was really, really hard. Also, even though my opponent, he was actually really good. Like, I think, maybe 3 years experience of boxing at that time. The guy was 36 years old, and his dad's a boxing coach, so he's grown up on boxing, kind of thing. Even whether he was active in it or not, he grew up in and around boxing. And like, I remember hitting him with some power shots, and he wasn't really moving. So I had to spend 5 rounds literally fighting for my life. But yeah, man, it was a good fight.
Nice. How was the partnership with MYCLM impacted your career as a boxer?
Uh, I don't even know how to describe that one. That one is invaluable because I feel like, bro, like, like, you guys, well, you have been instrumental in sort of being that first person to really believe in me and really say, "Do you know what? I see what you're doing. I see where you're heading to, and I want to help you get there." And just even forget the stuff you paid for in terms of equipment and all of that. Just saying that it means the world to me. So yeah, it's very valuable.
What role has the Merino boxing gym played in your development as a fighter?
Oh, Carlos, honestly, shout out to Carlos. He's been amazing. I feel like they were the first boxing establishment to see me and say, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I want to help you out." And they've given me exposure that I hadn't had in the boxing world. So to have, again, Carlos put a stamp on me as an independent fighter, because I didn't train at a Moreno gym. So for them to see me as an independent fighter and then give me the benefits like using the gym, access to the coaches and so on, yeah, it's been great.
Amazing. You've just completed a 100-mile walk for November,
Yep,
charity
yep.
focused on men's mental health, well, not mental health, but health in general. What motivated you to take on this challenge?
So I'd been meaning to do like a charity event for the longest time. I have two very close friends that passed away due to suicide, and these are people I've known since primary school. So I wanted to do an event. So when my boy Rene hit me up and said that he wanted to do 100 miles, I knew that he was good, but I knew that this is a mentally challenging exercise. So it's just like, he needs my support, like and I love a physical challenge. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So to dedicate that towards that cause, it means a lot to me because the mental health side, the suicide prevention side, and even just checking your body in general for health is very important. And as someone of color, I feel like in our community we don't really speak about it that much. So to shed light on it, and I would say almost in a big way, by doing the 100-mile walk, I'm glad that I've opened up that dialogue and people can now look at me as someone that advocates for this kind of thing.
Okay. Can you tell us a particular moment in the walk that especially was memorable for you?
Um, a few, a few things, but um, a few. Would I say the weather, or do you know what? I would say when I um, was really, really tired. My feet had all sorts of blisters. At one point, bro, I was bugging out, bro. I had to take off my hiking boots because I was like, it's too much. And then I put them back on and carried on walking. But throughout all of that, I see Rene, and sometimes his pace was brutal. Like we took turns, who was like leading the pace, but seeing him walk forward and me again being fit and stuff, seeing that and it inspiring me to keep going myself, that was a very memorable moment because it again reaffirmed to me that sometimes you can't always do it by yourself. You need a network, a team of people behind you that inspire you and keep you pushing. So that stuck with me quite a lot.
How's your perspective on health and well-being evolved through your boxing career?
Um, it's life changing. I would say to anyone, right, get into boxing, get into some sort of physical sport that requires you to show up, if not just on a weekly basis, because I was just naturally fit. I'd play football, I'd do this and that, but boxing was something that made me discipline myself and actually apply myself to something consistently, like, and it was something of my own choice. So doing that made me realize the benefits of staying consistent, not just being fit, but actually staying consistent and then progressing and growing. So seeing these small measurable goals being hit and progressing, it's opened my mind about so many other things that I could do the same thing.
What message do you hope to convey through your support for men's health initiatives?
Oh yeah, so especially with the 100-mile walk, I want it to be almost like very literal in the sense that to achieve anything, big or small, it takes simple steps and it takes consistent steps to get there. And again, when you see 100 miles, yeah, it's a lot, but it was walking. So when you go, it's really the slow and steady wins the race, and it's about consistency and longevity rather than trying to get somewhere, cut corners or cheat or stuff like this. It's about actually working on yourself, facing things head on, and people and other men or young boys that watch this will see, wow, when he breaks it down so simple, it is like that. And they go off and do the same thing and inspire other people. So I want it to be like a chain effect of people seeing, ah, right, he did that, maybe I can do it, and then get them working. So yeah.
We're all capable of getting somewhere. You were in an accident in Morocco. The photos look pretty bad. Take us back to what happened.
Well, yeah, I can. I won't be too graphic, but on my last night, which was because it was an amazing trip, I went out. I probably shouldn't have gone out, or I probably should have just stayed my ass at the hotel. But I went out. After the night out, I was hit by a lady, a woman driver, who actually was a hit and run, and basically she left me there. The security outside didn't call police, they didn't call ambulance. I had to make my way inside the hotel, get patched up, and then fly back with these open wounds. And it was a shame because I was supposed to be on BXGP for a light heavyweight fight, but I couldn't make it with my wounds, and it was a bit of a setback in my training. But then but I still managed to do what I needed to do, and the healing process was a journey in and of itself. So yeah, it was humbling as well. So I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be here to talk about
Yeah, happy to have this anyway.
it.
How have the injuries affected your boxing?
Not at all. I think I became stronger. When I started training, just like the small stuff like push-ups and so on, with the bandages still on me, it reaffirmed that I have that dog in me. Like it told me that, listen, like you're gonna have to kill me to stop me from working towards my goal. And yeah, that gave me a stronger mentality going into anything that I threw myself in, like sparring and so on, even with the injuries, because I knew that yeah, this is how life is. Like you don't know when you're gonna be here, when you're gonna go. So yeah, fight for your life.
Can you talk about any rivalries or competitors you have, and how they've shaped you as a fighter?
Rivals that shape me as a fighter. Do you know what? I will shout out someone. My boy Ira, right? I said this before. The UK Floyd Mayweather. He was one of the first persons that I've ever sparred with, ever, like in terms of boxing, right? And still till this day, I actually told him this the other day, that I think he's one of the most skilled fighters I've ever gone against, and he was lighter than me, like literally like in the 60s in terms of weight, but it allowed me to proper like have to adjust to his speed, his technique, and all of these sort of things. So he was someone that definitely kept me pushing because I thought he was very talented, and there was respect there. And yeah, we had some very competitive spars. So yeah, I'll shout out my boy Ira.
Under Obi Promotions, there seem to be a few fighters that want your head. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how long the list is now. It goes past the door, but I have the belt, so it comes with the territory. As he loves to bring me up in conversation, I don't speak about him at all because I'm not really bothered about him until I go for that belt. But he reckons that I'm ducking him. I slap him up in sparring, but it is what it is. Everyone has their own perception of things. The person who I want to fight next, Emmanuel, him, right? Project of God, Chief Blix, or whatever he goes by, Spider-Man, right? That guy there. He's called me out officially on the OB show on his post fight interview, and I want that fight because he doesn't deserve to have a belt. Now that he has a belt, he has a mark on his back, so it just sweetens the deal for me. As a sportsman, I don't really respect him, so it's kind of personal for me the way he said certain stuff towards me, and I don't, and he hasn't even gained my respect as a sportsman. So it's going to be a grudge match. So yeah, that's going to be fun. But then to everyone else, I don't have anything to say. I've addressed them. They're on my naughty list. They know about that.
Have you ever turned the rivalry into a personal friendship outside the ring?
Definitely. Yeah. I was one of them. With anything, I feel like one reason I love combat sports and boxing is that when you've exchanged punches, you punch someone in the face, they punch you in the face, you have to give them some sort of mutual respect. You have to find respect there because at the end of the day, like I said, it can be a life or death thing. Like to put yourself on the line and put yourself at that risk. Afterwards, it was nothing personal. Like there's so many people I fought, I didn't know their name, I didn't know where they were from. But once that bell finishes, again, I'm like, we did what we had to do inside the ring. Anything outside of that is irrelevant. So yeah.
What advice do you have for young athletes who look up to you and aspire to become boxers?
Advice. No excuses. I would say there's no excuses. I came up with no real coach, training by myself. Even this year, I probably had about 5 pad sessions, and I'm now a two belt holder in boxing, and that despite your circumstances or anything like that, as long as you're self-accountable and you really know if you don't have the facilities or the equipment, that will come with time. But what you have to think, what can you do now for yourself to help get you ready for that time when you do have equipment and sponsorships and stuff like that. So you can always put in that work yourself. It's really down to you. Don't wait on other factors to get you going. Just get up and do it.
How do you think partnerships like the one with MYCLM and Moreno are changing the landscape for professional athletes like yourself?
I think especially it gives me credibility in one sense that it shows that, hey, this isn't just white collar or semi-pro or whatever. This is something that someone has dedicated and applied themselves to, and one thing as well that's affected is that it now attracts. I'm in talks with other people in terms of sponsorship, so having that first initial injection of belief and support just manifests and attract more of that. So that's one of the biggest effects.
How do you balance the rigorous demands of training and fighting with personal time and rest?
I would say that it's a case of where I chose to do this, it's not really hard to find that balance because with my personal life, that's something that's always going to be there. And now with boxing, that's something that's always going to be there. So as soon as I've dealt with the things I've needed to do, in whatever order, whether it's personal first or boxing first, I always make time for the other thing because it's part of my life. I can't really cut it out. If that means I then have to cut out other things that maybe in my personal life aren't as important or are not a priority, so be it. But I want to be training. I want to be doing these things. So I don't really find it hard to motivate myself when I decided to be in this position and do these things.
Can you share a bit about Julio and who he is outside the ring, and his hobbies, interests that fans might find surprising?
Julio. A lot of people say Julio. It's cool. Honestly, I don't mind the way it's pronounced, but it is the Hispanic way of Julius, which is my name. So, yeah. I on my Instagram page, I love to like do content and stuff. So I like video editing and things like that. what would I say would be interesting? Maybe people know this, but I'm a big anime fan, a big anime nerd. So I always like to represent for my anime gang and always make it an integral part of my life and even like my morals and stuff. So yeah, I'll mention that. Yeah, I'm an anime nerd.
Okay. What message would you give out to athletes about looking for sponsorship and companies like Moreno and MyCLM?
If you're looking for sponsorship, I would say first things first, obviously work on yourself because you are the brand, the entity that they are gonna invest in, and give them a reason and realize that your self-value, that so that when you go to these sponsors and you approach these sponsors, you already know your value going into there. And another thing, I wouldn't say don't worry about it too much. Don't look too hard. Obviously, present yourself to whoever present yourself. Whatever is meant to be is meant to be, and that will work itself out. But yeah, focus mainly on yourself, and especially once you start shining, people will see it. People will see your own light and will come to you. So yeah, attract that stuff. Attract it.
Speaking of brands, that's for your own brand, Elevate. Could you tell us a bit about that?
So Elevate is something I have ranted and raved about from the beginning of me starting my boxing career and starting my page, Julio. It basically represents elevation, it represents growth, it represents almost that upwards trajectory and even battle to improve on oneself. And it's something that can be related to physical, mental, spiritual, however you want to put it. So at the moment, I've been doing for a few years now some brand awareness, but merch and more exciting things and events and projects are going to come out from Elevate. So yeah, I'm going to keep it pushing.
I'm just going to drop a name. I just want to hear your thoughts. Salt Pappy.
Salt Pappy, dang, you just threw me in there like that. Salt Pappy, I really rate his boxing. I think he's a good boxer, and I think he was a good boxer from early in his career. I think he was pretty talented. But I've spoken to him. I've spoken to the man at length about trying to see him and spar with him. I told him, bro, we can do this off camera. Like, I know you're doing the TikTok thing and all of that, but I just genuinely just want to get some work in with you. He's told me yes a few times, but he's always seemed to have avoided doing that me. And his initial reason, which I hear it, is he said that I was a bit too good for him when he first started out. And I was like, okay, cool, I respect that, I hear it. But the reason why I messaged him in the first place, because I didn't think he was of my level, but the reason why is that he did a post on his story saying, I will fight any boxer, any level, DM me and we'll get it on. I was just like, this is smoky. Like, DM'd him, he DM'd me back again, we were talking, and like when he said that, I was just like, so you're not ready to fight anybody, are you? You're just talking for the net. But since then, he's gone to Misfits. He's had a really good career. He's come off 2 losses. Doesn't change how I feel about him in his boxing. I think still feel like he's a dangerous boxer. But I'm just trying to get his attention again and be like, bro, like you've denied me the sparring, so now that I'm rising up, I'm coming for your heels. So inevitably, he's gonna have to answer back because there's evidence. Like me and we've spoken in person, like not in person, but we've spoken over DMs, like to some extent, like so. Don't duck this work, bro.
Celebs go dating. How was that experience?
Dang. So that was really good. It was good to know that under the lights and camera, I can still be myself. That was the main thing I liked about it. I don't think I'd been on anything of that level or that high status before, especially TV. So it told me a lot about myself, but the experience itself was chaotic, man. Like the TV industry is quite chaotic. I didn't know that I was going to be on a double date until I was outside the restaurant. And the dates that I had, one was significantly older, and one was my age, but acted like an 18-year-old. So it was a very weird mix, and it was a very weird concoction. But I did all of this as well, very close to one fight I had. So it was roller coaster of experiences.
Wow. personal training. So you offer personal training services.
Crown Jewels PT, yes.
Okay, can you talk to us about that?
So yeah, I've been doing personal training for a while, and to the point where I was doing it for free, like for people that, because I had that already, that elevated mindset to build and help people grow and progress. I was just training people, and I was getting feedback of how much people loved the training sessions, especially because a lot of them would say that it's tapped, or they got pushed really hard, harder than they would push themselves. So it gave me like a good feeling, and it felt more like a vocational thing than just PTing. So now that I've started doing Crown Jewels PT, I still have a steady clients, and now I've started going into youth work and training up younger people from as young as like 15 and so on. So yeah, it's something that definitely is close to my heart, and I'm passionate about.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Finally, where can your fans follow your journey and support you in your upcoming fights and charitable endeavors?
So the main place, if you wanna find me, Julio Thiago, that's my Instagram. Add me up, follow me. The YouTube is coming out soon. What else? If it's for personal training, then I have all my links in my link tree on my Instagram. So yeah, that's two main things: my Instagram and my YouTube that will be coming out. So yeah, you can catch me there.
So, what's next for Julio? Could you explain what you've got in plan?
So immediately, in terms of boxing, to slap up this E-man guy and take his super middleweight belt, and then actually vacate it. I have light heavyweight and cruiserweight, and I have one of my guys, Dens. I think that he's up and coming, especially around the middleweight division. So if he can make it up to super middleweight, then that belt should be vacant for him to claim it, and actually have someone of championship level hold that belt. But in terms of boxing, I wanna eventually go pro, or and end up on a platform first, like Misfits. Salt Pappy's there, so that would be a great fight to make happen, to go in Misfits. But ultimately, to fully launch Elevate, launch the ship of Elevate, get that going. Um, it's very much in the works, and I want to take that as far as Nigeria, and and plant seeds and grow some projects over there, especially in stuff like boxing and so on, to the community, and provide some facilities over there. So yeah, a couple things I'm working on. So yeah, stay tuned.
So, how did you find your way onto the Wicked and Bad Fight promotion, and what's your relationship like with Bouncer at that time?
So I had to sign up like everyone else. I had to go through the process. There wasn't any sort of like selection process. I was just headhunted. I signed up. I turned up to sparring trials, and there was a bunch of fighters there, and I waited my turn. And when they called out for light heavyweights, because again, that's that's what I came into fight at, I was roughly like 84, 85 kg at the time. And it was funny because the guy at the ring, I was the first one to walk up to the ring when they called us after doing the heavyweights and the cruiserweights. And the guy who buoyed me, he was just like, he's like, yo, it's like, I called for light heavyweights. I was like, I'm here, bro. He's like, nah, bro, you look middleweight at best, bro. And I was just like, oh, like, he's buoying me, bro. I'm thinking, oh my days. So he literally like little boys me, puts me to the side and calls these two other guys in, and then they spar whatever. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Then he calls me in, and the guy he calls in is like, he looks like he's like 93 kilos plus, so he's cruiserweight or heavyweight. And then he calls me in, and he said he thought I was middleweight at best, but he was bigger than me. I've dropped him in the first round. Whole place goes silent. Whole place goes silent. Bouncer's sitting in the corner, quiet, and obviously he sees that. So from there, I was like, I think I did another round sparring, and off the back of that, I think he's seen, okay, cool, this guy got something. He's DM'd me. We've gone from there. I've given him my details, and then we were supposed to do a fight series on YouTube, but then that didn't go through. But obviously through stuff that was happening in the background, I stayed rocking with him, and when it came to him doing Wicked and Bad 4, I was on his list. So yeah, yeah, shout out to Bounce for that. Relationship with him now though, well, we're good. They've done the Wicked and Bad show, and I didn't fight on that one. maybe when they do next ones, we'll be able to meet. Like there's obviously the boxing side and then there's the business side. So as a champion, I just felt like me and him had certain differences of opinions, but we're men at the end of the day. So at some point, I plan to work it out with him. If it's his show, so he can do whatever he wants. But I have this belt. They can't, unless they mint a new belt and you just get rid of the whole value of being a champion and people defending their belts, then I don't see why I wouldn't be back on that platform. But yeah, we're good.